Hey, everybody. What's going on? J-Mac here with you. I got Statmaster Nate coming over with me from the Four Bros Radio Show. He's here today. And I got down beneath us. But he's not beneath us as far as the show goes. He's one of us just like everything else. And that is Greg Hot Seat Gallino. What's up tonight, my brothers?
Oh, man, just ready to talk a little hockey. How you doing, J-Mac?
Oh, man, I am so excited about that new intro. That is hot. Am I right?
Yeah.
That is hot, man.
Yeah.
And if you haven't noticed here on the ASAP network, every show's been coming up with their own little intro lately, and some of them are just out of this world. I'm sorry. I did the one for Sports Minute, and the Sports Minute one, I'm sorry, it just blew everything out of the water. But I'll tell you what, Nate's come up with a couple of good ones, too, for his stuff.
3.
So, 3. So, let's go with that. But,
And
Nate, go ahead.
The fourth one. Almost on the fourth one as well.
Hey, Nate, go ahead and roll the ads for us, and then we'll talk about the shirts, and we'll get going.
Okay. The first one is Suzanne's
Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us, from all of us here at the ASAP Network.
Got my own self up there. How did that happen? Next up is Misty Meadows.
All right, and so bring up that shirt. Bring up the free shirt, because I'm telling you, we already got 2 people entered for the new month right here in the first 3 minutes of the show. Louis Tenor and Lisa Halverson right there. 3 minutes into the show, they've already got their names in there. So great for them. They already got their names in to be the viewer of the month, and that's all you got to do. Comment, like, share, all of that. Add it up at the end of the month. You can become the viewer of the month and win that shirt. And it's a great shirt.
New month, too.
But, Nate, if you can't do that, if you can't comment, if you can't like, if you can't share, how can you get one?
Just message any one of us. Message me. Message J-Mac. Message Greg. Message anyone on the ASAP. And all you have to do is $14.99 plus shipping and handling. Sizes go from small to 2XL. You wear like a size that's 3XL or bigger. That's not a big deal. All it is just $1 or $2 extra, but nothing too big.
All right, thanks for that. So get in there, get that hot merchandise. All right, let's jump into this, guys. And yes, we always do a top 5 list of goalies. And tonight, I believe we picked the Minnesota Wild. Now, before we go into that, I got to say that it's one of my favorite nights of the week. But I'm going to tell you that yesterday, and I'm not going to go off on this for a long time because this is a hockey show, not a baseball show, but yesterday was opening day of baseball, probably my 3rd favorite day of the year. However, before the show, I'm kind of concerned with Greg Hot Seat Gallino here. He's talking about his time traveling, and he's telling us that maybe the Maple Leafs aren't going to be the team that he thought they were going to be. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that, Hot Seat?
I'm telling you what, everything's starting to heat up right now. We're in week 12 of the season right now. I mean, the Maple Leafs are still at the top of their division, but they still haven't played anybody from the States. I just think that they're sliding a little bit. I still think that they're a very I think that they're a very good top team, top 10 at least team in the league. But I don't know, my time traveling abilities, I don't know. I'm just kind of sensing that maybe they're not quite as tough as I've been pumping them up to be. And I definitely think that they're going to win some games in the playoffs. But I don't know. I'm usually right about my time traveling abilities. And I'd say right now, I don't think at this point at week 12, they're destined for the Stanley Cup. I don't know. I hate to say it because I've been riding them all season long, but I don't know. I see about 3 or 4 teams, maybe a handful of teams that are better than them right now. So I'm getting a little nervous for the Maple Leafs out there. So any Maple Leafs fans, if you're really riding on them, I don't know. I may pull out of the market. Maybe if you're gonna bet, just bet on some March Madness or something, because I'm just not feeling it right now with the Leafs. I hate to say it. But, yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, there's his take. We'll go into our top 5 list. I'm going to let Nate lead off on this one. So we picked the Minnesota Wild. Now, they're not an old franchise, so they're not some of the other franchises we've looked into. And, folks, I'm going to ruin a little bit of a surprise coming later on in the show. This will be later in the year, by the way. Later in the year, after we go through all of the franchises that are now, we're going to go into the folded franchises, and we're going to look at some of their best players and their best goalies. But that will be probably the summertime before we get there. But yeah, that'll be exciting. We're going to do that. But for now, Nate, I want you to tell us your top 5 goalies for the Minnesota Wild, and tell us how hard it was to find 5 goalies for the Minnesota Wild.
Literally, I'm not going to say which one. Literally, all of my information that I am giving to you guys are coming from one website. And that one website, it was a little bit hard to find. So all this information is coming up from one website. Yeah, it was really, really hard to find this kind of stuff. So my number 5. This guy, he played from 2005 to 2014. Josh Harding. Harding started his NHL career with. He started off a career with his second round draft pick in 2002. He won the WHL top goaltender, most outstanding player awards the following season. And despite his outstanding WHL performance, he spent the season in WHL again. Just a couple of stats. Goals against average was average of 2.01, 9.30 save percentage, 4 shutouts, 21 wins through 42 games. So the next guy that I have at number 4, Manny Fernandez. He played from 2000 to 2007. Manny Fernandez. He was a member back in 1998. He played with actually the Dallas Stars. That won the Stanley Cup actually.
It's funny that you brought up the Dallas Stars when talking about the Minnesota Wild, because the Dallas Stars, as we know, used to be the Minnesota North Stars before they moved to Dallas. So it's kind of interesting that you brought that up, but I'll let you continue.
He was the third goalie that did not play enough games to warrant his name being etched on a championship. Just an interesting stat there. But the year 1999 to 2000, Dallas went back and lost the Stanley Cup final with Fernandez as primarily the backup to Ed Balfour. Just a little bit of background information about him. But, his career really actually started with the Timberwolves back in 2002 to 2003. He went to the playoffs as Rollinson backup, but when the team fell to a 3-1 series deficit to start the first round, it was Fernandez who saved that team after 3 consecutive wins, including 2 of them in overtime, to get the Wild onto the second round. He also was awarded for his accomplishments behind stiffing Minnesota's defense of coach Jacques Lemar, who also happens to be his uncle. He was half of the top defensive men in NHL and was co-awarded the William M. Jennings Trophy for the fewest goals allowed by a team over an NHL My number 3 guy, Dwayne Rollinson. He played for the team back in 2000 to 2006. Nicknamed Rolly the Goalie by I said Timberwolves, by the Wild fans. Rolly was taken in the 2000 NHL draft by the Wild co-expansion team, the Columbus Blue Jackets, but rather than reporting to the Jackets, he signed with NHL and AHL contract for one season. But during the summer of 2001, Rolly signed a contract to join the Minnesota Wild's organization and immediately established himself as Fernandez equal to the expansion franchise. He and Fernandez would form a great 1A, 1B to share a glory of a 2002 to 2003 conference championship appearance. Going in, and I so number 2. He actually is their current goalie. He was the goalie from 2015 to now. The Minnesota Wild, they eventually got the return from the Edmonton Oilers for the Rollinson trade. That's with the former first-round pick from the Oilers, who was chased out of town after 5 mediocre seasons. He was okay over in Oilers, and then he bounced out of hockey before fading his way in Minnesota. A little bit of stats here. He went 9-2 throughout his 39 starts with a save percentage of 9.36, goals against average of a 1.7, 5 shutouts, and carried the Wild to the playoffs. So that's my number 2. Now I gotta go with my number 1, Nicolas Brockstrom. He was their goalie from 2006 to 2015. He entered the NHL as a 28-year-old undrafted free agent, and he was great even when he first started back in 2006. He surpassed Josh Harding to earn the backup role for Manny Fernandez and took over that role when Fernandez injured his knee midseason. He had 36 starts as a rookie. Backstrom led the league in goals against average and save percentage, earning himself the Vezina nomination and sharing the 2006 to 2007 William James Trophy with Fernandez. Backstrom started all 5 playoff games in the first round to Anaheim. So just a little bit of information about those 5 guys. That's my top 5.
Well, certainly lived up to the billing of Statmaster Nate right there. That's why we keep him around, folks, because he's got the numbers. He's got the stats. That's why he's Statmaster Nate. Now we're going to move on to Greg Hot Seat Gallino, and we're going to see what he has to say in his top 5 list. Take it away, Greg.
All right. Well, J-Mac, you mentioned it earlier on, how hard was it to find 5 goaltenders to mention for the Minnesota Wild, or 5 at least efficient goaltenders. I thought about just throwing Brandon Herrera's name out there and see if anybody caught on, because, it was pretty hard to come up with 5 decent names on this list, but I'm going to go for it here. In the 5 spot, I got Dwayne Rollinson.
This almost returned.
Dwayne Rollinson was a pretty funny guy. He had a 92% save percentage. He allowed 2.28 goals goals allowed average, which is the lowest, I think, out of all the people that I have here. But one interesting thing about Dwayne
is that Greg froze up.
Or that Greg's having technical difficulties. So we'll come back to that. I really like your list, Nate, especially at the top. I like the top two guys. They would have been my top two had I gotten to make that list. And unfortunately, I did not. I had other things going on. We're waiting for Greg. He is in the green room, sort of. His stuff still hasn't popped up, so we're not going to bring him back on the stream yet. We will get back to his top five. I promise you guys that as our viewers. And sorry about the technical difficulties. These things happen. Again, this is live, so we don't have a delay here to run anything else. And this stuff happens. So, stick with us. We'll keep moving. I'm going to ask you a question. Move on a little bit, Nate. Now he's on there twice. There he is. All right. So before I ask him that question, let's let Greg go ahead and finish his list.
At the plate. And that's Mike Trout.
All right.
Okay, go ahead. Yep.
All right. So yeah, I had Dwayne Rollinson. I just want to say that one funny thing that Dwayne Rollinson used to do is after he'd catch a puck for a save, sometimes he'd throw the puck up in the air and just kind of bat the puck out of the air and clear it. So that was a very funny thing that Dwayne Rollinson used to do in the crease. So anyway, now going into the 4-hole is a guy that I felt really bad for because he's one of those what-if players. I'm going to go with Josh Harding in my 4 spot. He had about 2.45 goals allowed average, had 10 shutouts. Unfortunately, he had to retire very early at the tender age of 29 due to multiple sclerosis. So he had to take an early retirement. But he was a pretty consistent presence. He was a great team leader, and you just kind of wonder what would have happened to his career if he wouldn't have had to retire so early with multiple sclerosis symptoms. In the 3-hole, I got Handy Manny Fernandez. He picked up 113 wins with the Wild, 2.47 goals allowed average. The great thing about Manny Fernandez is he always gave his team a chance to win. He just didn't have a lot of great support. The Wild didn't have much for offense back in those days, but he always held his own and always gave his team a chance to win. In the 2-hole, I have Nicolas Brockstrom. He's the all-time career leader so far. He picked up 194 wins with the Wild. He had a 2.48 goals against average, picked up 28 shutouts. He's the current leader in wins. But I think he's going to be passed by this next guy coming up. In the number 1 spot, I have Devin Dubnik. He's got over 180 wins right now. He's already has over 25 shutouts. And the interesting thing about Devin Dubnik is he's the only Wild goaltender to win 40 games in a season. And he's also the only one to pick up 30-plus wins in 4 consecutive seasons in a row. So I have Devin Dubnik slightly edging out Nicolas Backstrom. So,
all right. Yeah. And, Nicolas Brockstrom was the one guy I was thinking of when I put this list out there. So definitely being on both of your lists. But, with say his name again, Devin Dubnik?
Devin Dubnik.
That was a funny name to say as well.
An interesting thing about Nicolas Brockstrom is he didn't even show up into the NHL until he was 28 years old. So you just kind of wonder what his career would have looked like if he would have showed up, about 18, 19, like most of these players. So
also,
yeah, I mean,
he wasn't even drafted either. He wasn't drafted. He was an unrestricted free agent.
Right. No, and so I mean, you think if he had another 7-8 years, would he be up there? Would we be talking about him with the likes of Dominic Hasek help me out, Patrick Waugh. Would we be talking about him in those regards? Possibly, we possibly would. So definitely interesting. What would have happened if he had gone longer? So thanks for those lists, guys. That was entertaining. Lots of stats, lots of stuff to talk about. Definitely enjoyed that segment. Now, when you froze, Greg, and went out, we were going to move on. We were going to talk about the next topic. We're going to talk about. We're going to hold off on the standings for a minute. We have them pulled up because I want to ask you guys this question first before we get there. And we'll go from this question and then we'll get all the standings pulled up and talk about them. Will anyone ever catch Wayne Gretzky for career points? I'll start with you, Hot Seat Galliano.
I honestly think that I know that you'd like to see that, J-Mac. I know that you've alluded to Ovechkin in the past, that he might have an outside chance and everything, and then he's had some injuries and everything as of late, and it's not looking like he's going to catch him. And I know that we mentioned that Mario Lemieux might have been able to keep pace with him if he hadn't have missed 3 or 4 really good seasons, with Hodgkin's lymphoma and everything that he had going on. So I think that Mario Lemieux was probably the best chance if he could have stayed healthy and had a clean bill of health throughout his entire career. But I think that right now, currently, the way that the game is played, I don't really see anybody passing Gretzky. I think that his record is going to be safe for a very, very, very long time to come. You got to remember, Wayne Gretzky had more assists than goals, which is an outstanding stat for a premier player like Gretzky. So awesome assist guy, scored a ton of goals. I just don't see it happening. I see some players maybe down the road, maybe kind of getting close and everything, but the way that hockey's played right now, with the rules and everything, I just don't see it happening personally.
Yeah, I can agree with that, and I can also say that it's changed the way they play, and we've brought it up more than once. Even if you take all of Gretzky's goals away, he's still the all-time points leader in NHL history. That's insane to think about. Like, you take part of those away, and he's still there. So, it's nuts to think about. But Nate, what's your thoughts?
I think there can be a guy that leads in one of those two categories, goals or assists. But I don't think they can break that record in both. I still think that Wayne Gretzky can break the still will have the record in goal points.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Now it's that time. We're going to bring up the standings. We're going to talk about those. Nate has those for us. And we'll start in the North Division. This one now, week 12 of 18, as you see on the top. Now, North Division, again, the Maple Leafs still leading there. They lead with 49 points over the Jets, who have 46, the Oilers, who have 45, and the Canadiens, who have 41. Then it's rounded out by the Flames, the Canucks, and the Senators. So now they're saying that in a playoff spot, you have the Maple Leafs with a 55% chance of landing that number one spot in this division. So, I mean, that's better than 50%. That's pretty good. Of course, you have the Senators with no playoffs, and they have a better than 99% chance of not making the playoffs this year. That's probably pretty accurate as well. So, and I want to say that the Leafs are going to choke and not take this division, but I think they will. I think they'll take this division, but I don't think they'll do well in the playoffs because, as Hot Seat has brought up many times, they have not played anyone stateside yet, and I think that that's going to hurt them in the playoffs. So anything else on this division you want to talk about, either Statmaster Nate or Hot Seat Galliano?
Well, my time traveling abilities do have the Toronto Maple Leafs taking this division, but look out for Edmonton. I mean, they're playing rock solid hockey right now. They're playing about good a hockey as you can imagine. They're closing the gap. I do think that Toronto is going to play just well enough to take this division, but like we've been talking about, they haven't played the Golden Knights. You know, they haven't played the Hurricanes. They haven't played the Avalanche. So it's really hard to tell exactly how Toronto is going to do. I mean, they play some pretty decent defense. Austin Matthews is a fantastic player. Tavares is still looking pretty decent out there, even though he left my Islanders, which I'm still upset about. But you know, I think that this is a very hard-fought division. I mean, Toronto's still a top 10. Edmonton's probably a top 10 team. Don't count out the Jets. You know, and another good team to see is our all-time NHL championship leader, Montreal, playing decent hockey. So, yeah. But I do think that Toronto is going to edge out Edmonton for the top spot in that division still.
All right. Thanks for that. Nate, any last words on this division?
Yeah, I wanted to point out something. I know we talked about this a lot before, but there's only 2 NHL teams in that division that have not scored 100. That have actually, I take that back. They're the lowest scoring goals attempted, goals against. Excuse me. Hold on, redo. The lowest scoring, the best on defense is the Canadians on this one. Even though they're sitting at, they have actually 88 goals scored against this Canadians team. So that leaves me with this question: that the Canadians, do you think that they could be a Cinderella team once playoffs starts?
Sure. I think anything's possible. Again, you played no one stateside yet, so let's see how well you match up when that happens. Anything's possible. Yeah.
Okay, that was my only question.
All right. Let's move us on over to the next division.
Because I think that maybe their thinking is that the hitter's peaking. You know what I mean?
And we go to the East Division where the Capitals are on top. And actually, looking at it more closely, they are not completely on top. You have the Capitals, the Islanders, and the Penguins all with 50 points. They're all on top of that division. And it is so close. I mean, that race is unreal. 50 points for each team. The Bruins are in 4th place with 41 points. They're probably not going to catch any of those teams at this point. Guys, who pulls this one out in the end? Tell me. Is it the Capitals, the Islanders, or the Penguins? Hot seat, Galliano?
All right. I'm going back to my time travel abilities here. I'm going to throw out the Pittsburgh Penguins. I know that I'm an Islanders fan, but I think that the Pittsburgh Penguins, I know that they're kind of injury prone and have had to work out some injuries all season long and everything, but they're playing about as good as it comes. They're finding ways to win. I think that they're going to, you know, they just had another player kind of mysteriously leave a game the other day. You know, I don't really know what happened to him, but they're kind of injury plagued. But I do think that Pittsburgh's probably playing the best team hockey right now out of the big 3 teams at the top of the division. So I'm going to throw the Pittsburgh Penguins in there. I mean, if you asked me about the Penguins about a month ago, I'd say no way. You know, I didn't think that the Penguins were playing that good, but for some reason, everything's clicking right now for them. So I think that they're probably going to make a move, and I think that it's going to be Pittsburgh, then Washington, and then my Islanders, because we're just that Anders Lee injury is just devastating in this team right now.
All right. Nate, pick a team. Capitals, Islanders, or Penguins?
I said last week that I had Islanders going all the way. So if I had them going all the way, not many people do that off a wild card team. I have the Islanders going. I have the Islanders winning it, Capitals in 2nd, and Penguins at 3rd.
All right, and before we get out of this division and move on to the next one, I just want to point out, congratulations to the Buffalo Sabres. You ended your 19-game non-winning streak by winning a game. So congratulations to you. You now have 7 wins on the year. You have 20 points, which means you're 30 points behind first place in your division, having played 36 games. Yeah, enough said about them. But you did end your streak. May you win another game or two the rest of the year. All right, move on over to the next division, Nate.
I have one more thing to say.
Yeah.
That elimination, that you see that X right there, that happened on the same day they ended their streak.
Yeah.
That was kind of funny. So
Central Division, my favorite division. You know why? Because the Red Wings play in this division. Yeah, the Red Wings play in this division.
My second favorite division then.
And here's the thing: as a Red Wings fan, there is one team in the Central Division that I cannot stand. It is in my DNA to not like any team from the windy city of Chi-Town. And I'll tell you what, the fact that the Blackhawks have stumbled and they're in 5th place and not going to make the playoffs and be sitting at home watching on the couch just like my Red Wings, I love it. That is awesome. So, my Red Wings not doing well. We won't talk about them very long. 29 points, less than 1% chance of making the playoffs. We're not going to make the playoffs. The only thing I'll say is for the Stars, like, you have 10 overtime losses. 10. That's crazy. 10 overtime losses is insane in a season, and your season's not even over yet.
Something tells me they're doing this because they want a high draft pick.
We're not going to speculate on that because we're not going to do that here. But let's talk about the good teams. Let's talk about the Lightning and the Panthers that are both 52 points, and the 51 in the Hurricanes. Those 3 teams. Which team pulls it out in this division? We'll start with Nate. Which team pulls it out?
I think the defending champs will. Tampa Bay Lightning. I like what they've been doing. I think Carolina's going to be second, and I think Florida Panthers are going to be second. I'm confusing myself with football here. And the Carolina Hurricanes are going to be third.
All right. You see it the same way, Hot Seat Galano?
No, I don't. My time traveling abilities are telling me that Carolina's going to squeak by. They're going to be a few points maybe ahead of the Lightning. I think that Carolina right now is a little bit more well-polished than Tampa Bay. They are a point behind, but I see Carolina kind of making a move on Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay still has excellent goaltending, solid defense, but I think that Carolina is just a little bit better team to beat right now. So I think that Carolina is going to win this division. I think that Carolina's, my time traveling abilities wouldn't count them out for a Stanley Cup run. So, yeah.
Wow. You heard it here first, folks. And Lisa Halverson, thank you for that piece of trivia. Wayne Gretzky played 10 years in Edmonton. Yes, he did. Canadian, maybe the best Canadian hockey player of all time.
Yeah, he should have played.
Hands down. Let's not even say maybe. Let's just say it. He's the greatest Canadian hockey player of all time because, like we've said about the GOAT talk, I don't like talking. I don't like the term GOAT, but Wayne Gretzky is the GOAT of hockey. Wayne Gretzky, hands down, is the greatest hockey player of all time, and it's not even close. So, all right, Nate, move us on over to the last division.
Western Division.
The Western Division. Nate's favorite division. Definitely. Definitely Nate's favorite division. And why? Why would it be Nate's favorite division? Well, because there's his Avalanche.
Because it's not only that the Avalanche are in it, they're on top.
And they won today. All right. Well, let's look at this. Avalanche on top, Golden Knights right behind them. They both have 50 points, so either one could take it at this point. The Wild, though, are making that run. They're at 44 points, third place. Then the Blues at 38, the Coyotes at 37, the Kings at 34, and the Sharks at 34. So really, the Sharks and the Kings are only 4 points off of fourth place. And you see over in the column over there who has a chance at fourth place, and they still have the Kings in at 33% chance to make fourth place, and the Coyotes at 27%. I don't really understand the percentages, but that's not for me to understand. And the Sharks, they still have a 15% chance of making fourth place. So is it the Avalanche? Is it the Golden Knights? I think we know where you stand, Galliano. So let's go to Statmaster Nate on this first, because I think we know where he stands too. So let's hear it.
I'm going with Colorado. But there is something I want to address here. This actually goes to the Coyotes. And I know it was my team that came up on here and is doing this. But why the Coyotes gave up 9 points, 9 goals in one game on the 31st against my team, the Colorado Avalanche. So they just haven't been doing they just haven't been as successful. They're not doing great at all. I have the Avalanche winning this.
So you want your question is, how did the Coyotes give up 9 goals? Is that what your question was?
Yeah, 9 goals.
Well, you see, so what happens in hockey is they drop the puck in the middle, and then teams race down the ice, and it just happened that the Avalanche put it in the goal 9 times. That's how it happened. No, I'm just messing with you, Nate. I just thought that'd be a little fun to throw into the show there. Galliano.
That should have been a rhetorical question.
Hot seat Galliano. Tell us, who wins this division?
Well, I'll tell you, I've been mentioning for weeks how good and underrated I think that the Avalanche have been. And, they've been coming on strong. I know that about a month ago or so when I first started this show, I thought that Colorado was an up-and-coming team, and for some reason they weren't quite clicking yet. I think that Colorado's going to squeak by in this division. But I'll tell you what, this division is loaded. I mean, you got Brandon Herrera's Minnesota Wild with Kirill Kaprizov pretty much running away with the Rookie of the Year. And they've got some explosive young talent. But I think it's a two-way race, and I think that Colorado is going to edge by. And it's going to be a very, very tough matchup if they play in the playoffs against each other, because I think that both teams are poised for a Stanley Cup run. So, yeah, we're talking 2, in my opinion, top 3, top 4 teams right now in the league in the same division. So, but I do think that Colorado is going to take the division. Who's going to make the best run to the Stanley Cup between the two? My time traveling abilities haven't really told me that yet, but I think that Colorado is gonna squeak by a point or 2 in this division when it's all said and done.
All right. Well, thanks for that. It actually wasn't where I thought you were going with that. I thought you were going with the Golden Knights, but that's okay. We'll take the Avalanche thing. So thanks for those stat updates and standing updates, Nate.
I just wanted to clarify one thing. When for this, the website that they use, the green means that they have a shot at making that spot. They control their destiny. Is literally how they work.
Yeah, I mean, no, I get how all that works, but I don't understand how you have the Kings at a 33% chance of making the 4 spot, and the Blues at a 16% chance making the 4 spot when the Blues lead the Kings by 4 points.
I'll look that up and tell you later.
Yeah, that's the part I didn't that's why I didn't understand where the math was coming in.
You guys remember that movie Semi-Pro with Will Ferrell, where you guys remember that movie at all, Semi-Pro with Will Ferrell?
Yeah.
And, the last game of the season, everybody's in the stands and they're yelling fourth place. The is what this show reminds me of. How we're just sitting here talking about who's going to win fourth place, like it really means anything. But I mean, it is interesting, the statistics on the race to fourth. I mean, I never thought I'd see it where fourth place is such a significant number in sports,
right?
But in hockey, it's everything.
You make a good point. All right, let's segue over to the next segment, shall we, guys?
Okay.
And the next topic is probably going to be a little bit of a hot button topic. So the next question that was asked, this was sent in by a fan. I want to have you know that there was a fan that wanted this one asked on the show. So I decided we should probably get this one on there this week. So the question is, in your opinion, who is the best fictional hockey team of all time? Go ahead, Greg. Give us your answer.
All right, man. I had it narrowed down to two. Of course, I've got the Charlestown Chiefs from the legendary movie Slapshot with Paul Newman. When they a small minor league hockey team hires three goons pretty much off the street to come in and play some hockey and be the enforcers and everything. That was a great sports movie, great sports fictional hockey team. And of course, the first hockey movie that I remember, and I felt like I was destined to be a professional hockey player after I saw it when I was about 10, 11 years old, is the Hamilton Mustangs from the movie Youngblood. I don't know. I was just so amped up after watching that movie, watching those guys go at it and learning how to fight and learning how to, be tough out there on the ice and everything. So I'd say the Hamilton Mustangs from Youngblood fame and Slapshot's Charlestown Chiefs with the Hanson brothers out there causing a lot of mayhem and causing a lot of fights out there. That's who I got.
All right. And Nate?
I'm gonna have a confession. I have never seen a hockey movie, so I can't really answer that. On a joking note, the Sabres, because they're not doing so much. That's why I made that joke.
That was funny. So, you know what? I will give you an answer on mine. The greatest fictional hockey team of all time, and I mean, it's kind of interesting to actually just look through and try to find different fictional hockey teams that exist. And I found a few, that are interesting. They're not from movies. I found some that are from books as well. And again, they're interesting to watch for. And if you look it up on the internet, of course you find, your Mighty Ducks franchise. But actually,
you think he's this tall, slender guy?
The team that I decided to go with
he is a physical specimen. And I think
is I don't even know that they ever said the team's name. I couldn't seem to find it. But Greg, you will probably know this movie. The movie is Mystery Alaska.
Oh yeah.
And the main guy in the movie is Connor Banks. And he's from Alaska. They have a professional team, and again, I'm trying to find the name of the team because I don't know that they ever say it. But they probably say it in the movie. Just can't seem to find it right here. But that was a great movie. This guy out of nowhere from Mystery Alaska, if you will, and I believe they're actually from Mystery Alaska as the team. But of course, the other teams that are on there have already been said, like the Chiefs from Slapshot are on there. That's definitely an all-time favorite fictional team. I gotta admit that one. And you're right. I watched Slapshot when I first saw that with Paul Newman. I was like, man, I could go out there. I could go out there and rough some guys up. That'd be cool. But before we move on to the next segment, I gotta pull up a comment from Lisa Halverson because we were talking about fictional hockey teams, right? And this is her comment. Hey guys, what about the Chicago Blackhawks?
What about the Buffalo Sabres?
I love it. What about the Chicago Blackhawks, a fictional hockey team? That was insane. That was awesome. I like it. And what about the Buffalo Sabres? Yeah, they're as close to a fictional real hockey team as you could get, maybe. They're pretty bad. So question number 5 is one, and we have never really talked about this on this show. Sports Minute talks a lot about women's sports, and we haven't really gone into it in What the Puck. But this is another fan voted question, and I have to ask because I'm curious. We've talked about women making it in some sports mixed with men. And there's a few sports I think it could happen in. Do you guys ever see it happen in hockey? Do you ever think a woman could make it in the NHL? Whoever wants to take it first.
To be flat out honest, because of the way men are built compared to women, the only sport I can see that happening is baseball. I can't see that happening in hockey because it's too any contact sports. Any sport that there's a lot of physical contact.
Yeah, Greg?
Well, there's already been a female that has tried to play hockey. At least she made it into an exhibition game several years ago for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Her name was Manon Rhéaume, and she was in the crease for, I think, a quarter of play during an exhibition game. She suited up for the Tampa Bay Lightning. So she played goalie. The sad thing about goalies, though, is that most females aren't really over 6 feet tall, and most of the goalies that we have in the NHL are bigger built and everything. So I would say that the safest place for a female to break into hockey would be, in the crease. But I think that for their size on average and everything, you would probably be looking at more like a defense person or something out there based on the average size of a woman. And I don't think that a woman will ever break into the NHL just because of how physical hockey is. And I think that you'd be looking at a lot of injuries and everything, especially from a female going against guys that are probably much bigger than her. I'm not saying that it will never happen, but I just don't see a female breaking into national hockey unless, it's someone bigger that might be able to play in the goal like Manon Rhéaume did here about 10 years ago or so. And, she played pretty decent, but just couldn't quite make the roster. But I could see something like that maybe happening again, maybe another one try to do some exhibition and see, because women's hockey definitely needs to be more out there. I mean, we see excellent play in the Olympics every 4 years from the USA women's hockey, and it's a sport that women are very interested in, but I just don't see them really transferring over into the NHL, intermixed with men.
Okay. I mean, that's a fair answer. That's definitely a fair assessment on that subject. And I could see the same thing. By the way, I got to say, you keep saying in the crease. And here's what I'm going to say. If you're watching this show and you don't know what in the crease means, you're probably watching the wrong show, because anyone who knows hockey should know what in the crease means. And I'm not going to explain it to you, because if you don't know, you're watching the wrong show. So just saying. All right. That brings us to our next topic. We got 2 topics left. Unless something else arises in between that time. Hello to Suzanne as well. We see you on the show. We appreciate you being our longest running sponsor here on the ASAP network. And hello to you as well. So brings us to our next topic. Everyone's favorite topic of the week, I believe. And this is Greg's goofy moment of the week. Take it away.
All right, we're going all the way back in the time machine to 2003. The Stanley Cups versus with the I think it was the Devils versus the Ducks in the 2003 Stanley Cup. We're talking about my main man, Marty Brodeur, in the crease, Game 6. The Ducks come. They got a little momentum going and everything. They're playing some great hockey, passing the puck around and everything. Here comes Martin Brodeur, about ready to make a save. He picks up his stick. It slips out of his right hand. The stick hits the ice. The player on the outside right-hand corner shoots the shot. It deflects off Marty Brodeur's stick, and then Marty Brodeur can't focus on where the puck is because it deflected off his stick, so he's completely bewildered, and then the puck goes right through his legs, and it's a momentum-shifting score, and then the Ducks win to force a Game 7. Luckily for Marty Brodeur, it wasn't a Stanley Cup losing incident because they were able to bounce back and win Game 7 against the Ducks in that series. But definitely one of those plays that you wouldn't expect from a Marty Brodeur. I mean, one of the all-time greatest in the crease of all time. He's won several championships, won Olympic gold medals and everything. So it was kind of funny to see someone like that. And I mentioned another legendary player last week with Patrick Waugh and a Statue of Liberty play. So I've got two very awesome Hall of Fame goalies in the last two bloopers for the last 2 weeks. So that's what I got.
All right. Definitely my favorite segment. I always love to see what you're going to come up with. And when you keep throwing Hall of Famers in there, just remember, you make mistakes, they make mistakes too. They are human just like we are. They're not above the rest of us.
Yeah. And only doers make mistakes.
That is true. Only doers make mistakes. All right. Now it's come to that time in the show when we do a weekly trivia. Does anyone remember what our trivia question was last week?
I don't remember doing one last week.
Oh, we did. Huh. Nobody?
I don't remember. I thought it had something to do with the defenseman that scored the most amount of points or something like that. Or
we've already that's a past question. We've already done that.
Yeah,
one.
That was a past.
That was a past question. So at least you remembered one of the questions. Definitely a good question. The question from last week was. You guys were right. We didn't do one last week. I was just keeping you going on that. I love it, y'all. I had y'all going. No, the last question we did was the defensive men question. Greg got that one right. That was the last question we did. But we are going to do a question this week. So this week, we are going to travel in time backwards.
Perfect.
Yes. We're going to travel in time backwards. Travel back to a time when we had a team called the Quebec Nordics playing in the NHL. The question is, for the Quebec Nordics, who is their all-time point leader in franchise history? So again, the Quebec Nordics, all-time leader, franchise history in points. And put your answers down in the comments or save it for next week and put in next week's comments. By the way, 2 weeks away from adding up the trivia points and giving out another prize package. So look forward to that. That'll be coming in 2 weeks. So get your questions. Lisa's been all over this thing tonight. She's definitely got herself in there for viewer of the month so far. She's been all over this. Suzanne saying you're welcome. We appreciate having you on. Like I said, we appreciate all having the viewers on. Like we couldn't do this without you guys. They would kick us off the network if we didn't have any viewers. They'd kick this show off. And you guys keep this going just like we do. And we have fun. it's a good time. We're gonna get some interviews lined up though. I got some good stuff coming. I promise you for this show. You're gonna enjoy it. Gonna enjoy
and
the
I
good
have.
Go
I
ahead.
know this is not my show, but I did, however. There's one particular guy that I could be landing an interview with. So
Yeah,
that
I mean,
is
let's do it. I
currently a
mean, let's
broadcaster for Pittsburgh for the Penguins.
yeah. I mean, let's get them on. Let's make it happen. Let's make this show big. So tell your friends, like, share, comment, get it on there. So let's. Oh, Nate, should we do it to Greg? Should we do it to Greg real quick? Should we do rapid fire to Greg?
Oh yes.
I mean, it's our
yes.
favorite way to end the Four Bros radio show. So why not? Why not end What the Puck that way? Let's get a question pulled up. I save all these on my phone. There's like 250 of them that I have. And so let's do it. Let's start with Hot Seat Galino. 2 questions for you. Going to be rapid fire. First thing that comes to your mind when you hear these questions. Let me know when you're ready.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay. What would you consider one of your weirdest quirks?
One of my weirdest quirks is anytime I go on a road trip or I have some garbage at home or something that I don't want to put in my garbage can, I'll just dump it out on the road somewhere. Not littering or anything, but I just like to get rid of road trash and watermelon and stuff like that. Not in my can, but some other can along the way. I guess that's kind of a weird quirk.
Oh wow. Okay, that's definitely a weird quirk. Okay. What is your all-time favorite movie quote?
It's probably got to be, let's see, Nuke Lelouch from Bull Durham. I think he said baseball is an easy game. You hit the ball, you throw the ball, you catch the ball. Sometimes you win, sometimes it rains. That was by Tim Robbins in Bull Durham. That's one of my favorite.
Yeah.
Oh,
quotes.
I remember that. I remember that quote.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Get Off My Lawn by Clint Eastwood and Gran Torino. That was a pretty good one too.
Oh, I thought you were
Yeah.
going to say the Star Wars version.
All right,
not
Nate.
Star Wars, the Studio C version.
Nate, you get one question. Are you ready?
Okay. I'm ready.
How long does it take you to get ready in the morning?
There's not that much that I have to do, so I would say about 10 minutes.
10 minutes. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys having some fun with that tonight. Maybe we'll bring those. Sup, fellas, says Tim Fielder. Little late to the party there, Sarge. Thanks for joining when we got like 50 seconds left in the show. Jeez. Crazy. Anyway, we appreciate you watching, Tim. Just giving you a hard time, brother. You'll be on for the next edition of Four Bros Radio Show. So check us out. We'll be here next Friday again. The 3 of us will be with you for What the Puck, the hottest new hockey show on the internet. You can catch us here on the ASAP Network. Also, Talking All Sports, All Plays is the other place to check us out. So give us a like, a share, get with it, answer the trivia question, and Mariners are on a commercial break. Wouldn't expect anything less from you, Sarge. Awesome, man. Thanks for tuning in anyway, showing us some support. We tune into your shows, you tune into ours. You can catch me tomorrow on Sports Minute. You can catch the other 2 early next week on their respective shows. You can catch Nate with me on the Four Bros Radio Show. We'll be on Sunday. All right. So it's been a great night. Thanks for playing along with us, having some fun, talking some hockey. Boys, have a good night. We out.